Hi, my name is Heather Pierce. I live here in Springfield. I'm 45 years old. I have several pre-existing conditions. The first one I began to deal with is diabetes. I was diagnosed in my mid-20s. And since then, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle off and on through my whole life. And because most of the jobs I had didn't come with insurance, if they did at that time, I had a great job that provided insurance, but you had to be there for a year before your pre-existing conditions were covered at that time. So off and on through my whole life, I fought having access to health care for my diabetes. It's even created issues with I've had amputations as a result of not being able to get any health care until I was bad enough to go to the emergency room. And then it's get checked in, get something cut off, and get thrown back out of the hospital as quickly as possible. So that's where it all started. Well, with just the diabetes, that means I go quote unquote non-compliant again because I don't make enough money to pay $2,000, $2,500 for just medication for just one condition. When you add the fact that I'm also a cancer survivor, I had uterine cancer that escaped to my lymph nodes, and I ended up with stage 3 metastatic carcinoma on Affordable Care Act, thank goodness. So I had insurance for that, and I was on 2 rounds of chemo, 28 radiation treatments, and I'm still being checked for, recurrences every 3 months. So now, not only do my diabetes medications not get paid for, I don't get my cancer checks, my cancer screening, so if the cancer comes back, which there's a fairly high percentage chance that it will, I'll never know until it's far too late. I'm an amputee as a result of diabetes and issues with circulation, and things just go wrong sometimes. So my left leg was amputated about 2/3 of the way down, and if the pre-existing condition thing goes away, then also my prosthesis won't be covered. Amputation is a pre-existing condition, and they don't think you need a leg to walk on, literally, if you're an amputee. So those things, definitely, to be frank, it's a death sentence. If they don't cover my pre-existing conditions, I get to die a slow, painful death in emergency room visits. And that's the truth. Insurance, I constantly, because of the pre-existing condition thing before the law kicked in, I was constantly getting letters, if I was lucky enough to have insurance, I was constantly getting letters saying, we're not going to pay for this, we're not going to pay for that, because it's a pre-existing condition. They don't pay for insulin, and the insulin and one of my medications is $600 a month. The other one is $800, and there's another one that's $1,000. I can't afford that. So I was what they considered non-compliant, which means you're not taking your medication, but it wasn't because I didn't want to, it's because I couldn't afford to pay for it. So that's a pretty major thing that also contributed to amputations and such. Josh Hawley's lawsuit makes me feel angry and afraid. Afraid that I'll die, and that people I love will die. How do you take a person who's already vulnerable, and not just me, I'm talking about small children, other adults with other conditions, how do you take people who are so vulnerable, who are literally walking the line between being able to take care of themselves and try to live healthy lives, which I'm trying desperately to do, to just nothing, no way to take care of themselves, no way to move forward, no way to try to be healthy because you can't afford health care. So I just don't understand. It's unconscionable. Knowing that Claire is fighting for folks like me makes me feel like there are people in Washington who really do care about what happens to the people back home, about what happens to the people that are vulnerable. The whole time, nobody ever pretended that the ACA was perfect. But it was a whole lot better than what we had before, which was nothing. And now it seems like she's trying to make it better. And I wholeheartedly approve of that. I think it's wonderful.